أشرقت نفسي بنور من فؤادي حينما رددت يا رب العباد وانتشت روحي وصار الدمع يجري يا إلهي خذ بقلبي للرشاد.
If the girl was a wife of his, her marriage would be annulled because she becomes his daughter. She becomes his daughter. He is Sahibul Laban, he is the owner of the milk, and two of his wives had breastfed this kid, so he becomes the father of the kid. And he would be liable to half of the dower. He would owe this female kid half of the mahar, because the nikah would come to an end and it would infasakha, it would end, and he has not yet slept with this kid. It is before dukhul. So if the marriage ends before consummation, then the female has the right to half of the mahar which was mentioned at the time of the nikah. So he would have to pay this to her, but he can go and reclaim this half of the mahar from who? From his two adult wives, because they were the cause of the separation between him and this wife of his. They were the ones who caused the problem. So he needs to pay this young kid the half of the mahar. But where does he get half of this mahar from? He gets half of the mahar from the two adult wives of his who caused the problem in the first place. They are responsible. And if one of them breastfed 3 times, one of them breastfed 2 times, then we divide it. If, for example, the mahar was £5,000, then the one who breastfed 3 times must give £3,000, and the one who breastfed 2 times must give £2,000, and so then half of this amount, because we mentioned if it is before dukhul, then it would be that half of mahar would be due to this female kid. So the female who breastfed 3 times would not pay £3,000, but half of that, £1,500. The female who breastfed 2 times would give £1,000 because it's the half, and so in total £2,500 would be given to this female kid, because 5,000 was promised as mahar, and now the nikah is invalid. They separate before consummation, so half is due to this female kid, which is 2,500, 1.5 from this adult wife and 1,000 from the other adult wife. And the 2 adult wives are still halal for him. He can sleep with them because they did not become the mothers of his wife, because the 5 prohibitions did not apply from any one of them. One breastfed 3 times, one breastfed 2 times, but in total 5 had occurred to this 3rd wife, and so she would be haram upon him. Wallahu ta'ala a'lam. The author then states, وَلَوْ أَرْضَعَتْ إِحْدَى إِمْرَأَتَيْهِ الطِّفْلَةَ 5 رضعات 3 من لبنه و2 من لبن غيره صارت أما لها وحرمتا عليه وحرمت الطفلة على الرجل الآخر على التأبيد. If the female, if one of his wives gave the female child 5 breastfeedings, okay, the man has 2 wives, and one of them breastfed the other wife 5 times, but 3 from his milk and 2 from the milk of another man. Mushkila, Allahumma musta'an. How does this apply? Here we have this female. She was married and she was pregnant, and her husband had divorced her. Her iddah is up to the point that she delivers, and so she had delivered and she has a kid now, and she's obviously breastfeeding her own child. So she has this milk. She was married to Ahmed and they were divorced, and she gave birth, and so now they are totally separated. So Ahmed is gone out of the picture, and we have this female breastfeeding her own child. Comes along another individual by the name of Salim, and Salim wants to get married to her. Salim gets married to her, and soon after Salim gets married to her, so Salim is now obviously having relations with her, and maybe soon after she also falls pregnant. And so Salim is her husband, and Salim is regarded as Sahibul Laban, the owner of the milk. And she was previously married, and so now she was pregnant, and she was pregnant from the previous marriage, and so the breast milk in her is from that previous marriage, is from brother Ahmed. So for example, if this female, if an individual now, he has 2 wives, He's got a young kid who's a wife, and he has this adult wife who was previously married, and she has milk within herself from the previous husband. Jayid. So when she got married to this man and she was still breastfeeding the kid from her previous husband, she also breastfed this man's young wife. She said, I want to be the only wife of his, so what I'm going to do, I have some breast milk here. I was married and I still have some breast milk. So what I will do is, I will breastfeed this man here, my current husband's young wife. And so she does this, and she breastfeeds this kid 3 times, but this 3 times, she breastfed this kid maybe 3 times from the milk of her ex-husband. And then later on, she breastfeeds this same female 2 times from the milk of her current husband. So in total, she breastfed this kid 5 times in total. But it was milk from one husband 3 times, and it was milk from another husband 2 times. What happens in this case? In this case, she becomes the mother of this young girl. She 100%, because she breastfed 5 times, she becomes the mother of this young girl. And this would mean, once she is the mother of this young girl, it means that her current husband will have to break his nikah with both of these women. Why? Because number one, he's married to the mother of his wife. The adult wife is the mother of his young wife, and the young wife is the daughter of his current wife. So it's like, basically it's like a man getting married to the mother of his wife, and also he's getting married to the daughter of his wife, and that is haram. He's not allowed to get married to those 2, and so both the nikahs would break in that circumstance. And also this young girl here who was breastfed, she would also become haram to this female's ex-husband. Why? Because technically she is now, this young girl is, to the person, to the ex-husband, it is the ex-husband's ex-wife's daughter. It is that her ex-husband's ex-wife's daughter, and you cannot get married to your ex-wife's daughter. Jayid. So it would mean in this whole mas'ala that this man's adult wife becomes haram upon him. His young wife becomes haram upon him. This adult wife of his becomes the mother of this young kid. And her ex-husband is also haram upon this young kid, because that young kid is this man's ex-wife's kid, young girl, young kid, and so that would be haram, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best. We did mention the matters of rada can get a bit intricate at times. Then the author states, وَإِن لَمْ تَكُنْ الطِّفْلَةُ إِمْرَأَةً لَهُ لَمْ يَنْفَسِخْ نِكَاءَ الْمُرْتَضِعَةِ. If for example, the young girl was not his wife, adjust the translation, if the young girl was not his wife, the marriage of the foster mother would not be annulled. Obviously, if she was an external female to him, he has an adult wife, and this adult wife went and breastfed, some external female, etc., then he's not married to the external female, nothing applies and no issues in that matter. If, for example, his adult wife breastfeeds any female 5 times, obviously this female here becomes his daughter due to rada, and he cannot get married to her. ولو تزوجت امرأة طفلا فأرضعته 5 رضعات حرمت عليه وانفسخ نكاحها وحرمت على صاحب اللبن تحريما مؤبدا لأنها صارت من حلائل أبنائه. If a woman married a young boy, افتراضية, if this could happen, if it would happen, if a woman married a young boy and gave him 5 breastfeedings, she would become unlawful for him. Why? Because she is his mother through breastfeeding. And the nikah with her and him would be invalid, would be annulled. She would also be unlawful to the producer of the milk on a permanent basis, meaning her ex-husband. So this female was married, and her husband obviously had relations with her, and he was the owner of this milk, and then she was divorced from him. Then she married this young boy, and she's breastfeeding this young boy from the milk which was produced with her ex-husband. And so the relationship between herself and this young boy now, her young husband, it is annulled because he becomes her son due to suckling. And also she becomes haram to the she becomes haram to her ex-husband on a permanent basis because she is the wife of one of his sons. Because when she breastfed this young boy, this milk was from the ex-husband, and the ex-husband became the father of that kid. And she cannot get married to the ex-husband ever again. Why? Because she is now technically the ex-wife of this ex-husband's son. And you cannot get married to your son's ex-wife. Wallahu ta'ala a'lam. The author states, Faslun, subsection, dealing with cases of annulment due to suckling. The author states, ولو تزوج رجل كبيرة ولم يدخل بها وصغيرة فأرضعت الكبيرة الصغيرة حرمت الكبيرة وثبت نكاح الصغيرة. If a man married an adult woman, but he has not yet consummated marriage with her, and he also marries a minor. He has an adult wife and he has a minor wife. He has a wife under the age of 2. He has not consummated marriage with any of them as yet. And then the adult wife goes along and she suckles this young new wife. What happens in this case? The author states, the adult wife becomes haram upon him and not the minor wife. Why is the adult wife haram upon him? Because technically the adult wife becomes the mother of his wife. The adult wife becomes the mother of the young wife under the age of 2, and so one is not allowed to have in marriage the mother of your wife. You're not allowed to get married to the mother of your wife, and so the marriage between you and the adult wife would be annulled as soon as that had taken place. But the author states, as for the marriage with the minor, then this is still fine and this is still allowed. But you might say, well, subhanallah, if the adult wife became the mother of this young girl, then the husband should be the father of the young girl. Yes or no? Yes, one would probably say that. But take note, the author has mentioned, لَمْ يَدْخُلْ بِهَا. He has not yet consummated marriage with the adult wife. So meaning, this milk which was produced within her is not the milk from this man. It might have been her ex-husband, might have been her previous marriage, etc. That man was the owner of this milk. So, this husband here, it is not his milk which was breastfed to this young girl, and so marriage between him and the young girl is still fine, but marriage with the adult wife is annulled because she is now the mother of his wife and he cannot be married to the mother of his wife. And it also goes back to the mas'ala that if, for example, one had made nikah with the female and one has not yet consummated marriage with her, this can be annulled and put to an end, and you can get married to the daughter. But if you are married to the daughter, as this man is, as soon as he is married to the daughter, although he's not consummated, whether he's consummated, not consummated with the mother with the daughter is of no effect. As soon as you are married with the daughter, the mother is haram. He's married to the daughter here. Once that female adult wife became the mother, that nikah was totally invalid and it was null and void. The author continues and he states, وَإِنْ كَانَتَا صَغِيرَتين فَأَرْضَعَتْهُمَا الْكُبْرَى حُرِمَتِ الْكُبْرَى وَانْفَسَخَ نِكَاحُ الصَّغِيرَتين وَلَهُ نِكَاحُ مَنْ شَاءَ مِنَ الصَّغِيرَتين. If an individual has 2 new minor wives, he's got an adult wife and he has 2 minor wives. He's got an adult wife who he has not yet consummated marriage with, and he's also got 2 minor wives under the age of 2. If he married 2 minors, and the adult wife who he has not yet consummated marriage with, suckle both of these 2 minor wives, the adult wife would become unlawful to him. Why? Because she, like the previous example, is now the mother of his, not one wife, but she's the mother of his 2 wives. Jayyid. And the marriage of the 2 minors would be annulled. Why? In the previous one we said the marriage of the minor is still fine, but here we said if there's 2 minors, then the marriages are annulled because they are now sisters. And he is not allowed to be married to 2 sisters. This female breastfed both of them, which made both of them sisters, and he's not allowed to have been married to 2 sisters at one time. And so due to that, the marriage with The adult wife is nullified because she is the mother of his wives, and the marriage to the two minors are also nullified because they are sisters and he cannot be married to sisters. And then once the marriage with the two sisters is null and void, then after this he can get married to whomsoever he wants from both of them. He has to choose one of them. He cannot be married to both of them at the same time. Remember, this is also that adult wife who he had not yet slept with. He had not yet consummated marriage with. If marriage was consummated, then nikah with all of them would be null and void. Nikah with the adult wife would be null and void because she is the mother of his wives. And nikah with those minors would be null and void because they are the daughters of his wife, and all would be null and void. But it's a case and scenario here where he has not yet consummated marriage with the adult wife. The author continues and he states, وَإِن كُنَّ ثلاثا فأرضعتهن متفرقات حرمت الكبرى وانفسخ نكاح المرضعتين أولا وثبت نكاح الثالثة. If they were three young wives, you want to add that in, if they were three young wives and he's got one adult wife. So he's got four wives, one adult wife he has not yet consummated marriage with, and he's got three minor wives. And then the adult wife went along and she thought, she would be doing something where she would prohibit upon him the three young new wives and she would be the one left behind. In reality, her fiqh was messed up. So the author states, if there were three young wives and then she, meaning the adult wife, suckled each one of them separately. So first she suckled this one and then she suckled the next one and then she suckled the next one. So what's happening here? The author states, the adult woman who he has not yet consummated marriage with would become unlawful to him when he suckled the first one. She became unlawful to him. When she suckled the second kid, then the nikah of the first and the second kid became null and void because they are two sisters who he's married to, and that became null and void. And when she suckled the third, this had no effect on anything. And it's similar to our first mas'ala. So I repeat, an individual has one adult wife he has not yet consummated marriage with, and he's got three minor wives. As soon as the adult wife suckled the first kid, then the nikah of the adult wife became null and void because she is the mother of his wife. The nikah of this other young kid is still fine. When she suckled the second minor, it made the first minor and the second minor sisters. He cannot be married to sisters, and so their nikahs became null and void. When she suckled the third, then there was no issue at all. Jaid, her nikah with him was null and void, and even if it was not null and void, her suckling of this kid here has no effect on anything whatsoever because the milk is not from him, the milk is from her ex-husband, etc. because this husband has not yet consummated marriage with her, and so the nikah, the only nikah which still stands is the third. Jaid, we cannot say, well, they all three are sisters, because as soon as the first and the second were suckled, they are sisters, and then their nikahs were null and void, and so when the third minor wife was suckled, she was independent. She did not have any other co-wives or anything at the time, and so her nikah is established and the others are null and void, and so this adult wife would have to be separated from this individual. The first and second also separated from him, but the third would remain. Wallahu ta'ala a'lam.